I'm so glad you're here today. And then we have the DREAM Ignitor. How cool does that sound? Erin is an international speaker. She's a healing artist. She loves her community deeply, and that comes across in her life coaching. She encourages her audience to elevate their dreams through heart-centered guidance. Guidance? I just made up a whole new word. Let's welcome Erin Paige.
Oh, yay! Thank you. Well, thank you, Shauna, for inviting me. And you just never know where you're going to meet someone and how it's going to affect you later on. Shauna and I met at the Global Entrepreneurship Week. And she just informed me today, she goes, yeah, we've met before. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's right. And we had this whole conversation. And then Tom shows up, and I haven't seen him. He actually helped design one of my first logos and did some work for me about 10, 12 more years ago. And yeah, we're old. We're old. You didn't have to say that, Tom, but that's okay. So I'm really, really excited to be here, and these networking events can be vital to your business, whether you realize it at first or whether you realize it in that aha moment where you've done business before with someone and then you run into them, and so you're planting seeds. And so showing up, you've heard this before, that just showing up is like more than half the work, right? You just have to show up. So you've shown up today. I think what I'd like to do is this, to kind of give you an idea. Some people, some presenters, it's all about business strategy, and it's all about this, and it's about metrics. I'm not going to talk about metrics today. I'm not going to talk about how you should run your business in a quantitative way. I'm going to hopefully give you little nuggets on how to run your business in a heartful way, F-U-L-L. That's the official LLC name, is a heartful, F-U-L-L connection. And that's what I'm going to speak on today, along with dreams. And I'll hold this up. So does anyone want to answer the question out loud? What are two things that every single person, every human living thing on this planet have in common? Two things. It doesn't matter where you're born, the color of your skin, what's your faith. A what?
A heart.
A heart, okay. But I think there are some amphibians and things like that don't have that. Two things. Think about it. Oh, that's okay. I appreciate it. Okay. Yeah. You know what? You become adaptable to different environments. I was at Menorah Medical Center, and I set it up on a chair, and it landed like crashed down. So I'm not even going to use a chair today. I'll test my arm strength. Two things.
A brain.
A brain? No.
Air.
Air? No. Soul? Okay, we're going to talk about that. I'll just go ahead and answer because it falls in line with what you said, Tom. We all share a birth date, and last time I checked anyway, we're not getting out alive. Okay? So, birth date. Death date. What?
I was just thinking start and a finish.
Yes, a start and a finish, right? So this will just tell you a little bit about me. So I was born August 9th, 1973. If you do the math, you don't have to do it. I'll tell you, I am reaching 50 in just a couple weeks, and it's really opening up a lot of emotions and a lot of self-analyzation, where I am in my life, what have I done? And everyone's probably going to have that in their life, whether you're, hitting 25, or if you're hitting 50, or if you're hitting 75. So everyone has this. in common. It's this line right here that makes us different. This is our timeline. This is our own personal timeline. And Tom, you said soul. I used to label this differently. I call this my soul line. Okay? This is who I am. This is who I was brought here to be. This is my constant. Okay? So on the ticks in my timeline, just to give you a little bit of background, born, had some good, moments in my childhood, came from a really good, supportive family. Then I go to college, and I realize that I have freedom. Some of that childhood was very protective, but I discovered boys and alcohol. Wild child. Very unexpected. Through that, here, I'm going to put this in my pocket because this is came unclipped. Okay. So here's college. Rape, DUI, all in my 19th year. And I share that because we'll get into it a little bit, but everyone has perceptions. When I walked in this room, I bet most of you didn't know that or wouldn't have expected that, right? Caused a lot of havoc in my life. But I healed from it. Moving forward, marriage, son, divorce, this, and this, married again, divorced, jewelry designer, which that's what Tom knows me for. And then I started speaking. So basically, we're going through all of these ebbs and flows, right? We have our highs and we have our lows, and everyone is going through them. Every single person in this room has physical scars, and they have invisible scars. And if we were to evaluate and the scale of each one of those, I can guarantee that the invisible scars that we don't see in people actually outweigh by a huge amount the physical scars. So the physical scars are very easy to explain. I burnt myself, on the stove, all of it. But it's very hard to explain to someone that has shared the same experience, and you're sitting across the table, but it's all in how we perceive it and how we're taking in that knowledge, okay? The thing about it is that we're going through all of these things. This is not who I am. This is not who I am. This is who I am. Never changes. And the beauty about it is that you can always go back to one. You can always go back to that soul line. It's just a matter of whether we choose to go there or not. And that's where the heartful connection comes into play. So I know some of you're still eating, but if we could just take a few minutes, because the one thing that has brought me back to soul line more successfully than any therapy has been the breath. So if you would please just sit with your feet flat on the floor, your hands in your lap, and I'm going to give you a couple breathing techniques and tools for you to take with you. I want you to close your eyes. Anything that you had going on before this, anything that you have going on after this does not exist. Only this present moment. Now, physically, you will be breathing in through your nose or your mouth, but I want you to imagine that you are breathing in through heart space. Because there is love for you. The vibration of love, to me, is the ultimate vibration. So you breathe in love that this world has to offer you through heart center. Let it mix with all of the goodness and the uniqueness and your soul line that only you possess. And then when you exhale, you're breathing out something beautiful and new, and it will change the people that surround you and the planet that we live on. And just do that about 3 or 4 times. Each time taking in a deeper breath, hold it even longer than the last breath, and let it out even slower and more intentional than before. And now, I want you to imagine, I want you to hold an image in your mind. An image that you and only you see as pure love, joy, happiness. If it's your children, your grandchildren, a blooming flower that you saw before you walked in, hugging a friend, whatever it is for you, I want you just to hold that like a snapshot. Feel the emotion around it. And then I want you to really feel it at soul level. Take all of that emotion and have it seep into your own being. And when you're ready, take one last deep breath in, all that goodness. And then I want you to breathe it out. And what we've just created is actually a heart-centered vibration that has just been rippled outward to the entire universe. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. I have you do that because how many of us have been ready to go into a client meeting or a family gathering? Family's a real trigger for some people. And we don't have the tools to calm down our nervous system and to be present. And those are simple tools. If you're in a client meeting and things are going a little awry, excuse yourself, go down to the restroom, stand in the stall for 60 seconds. Gift yourself 60 seconds to center yourself. It will change everything. I mean, how many of you have walked into a room and you went, oh gosh, do I really want to be here? The energetic is in the room is real. And there's science behind it. So for you A-type personalities, here's your science, here's your evidence. So there's a study that scientists did on the heart and the vibration of the heart. And they came to the conclusion that the heart actually communicates more with the brain than the brain communicates with the heart. So when people tell you you need to get out of your head and into your heart space, they're right. And the cool thing about it is that they also measured the pumping and the vibration that was given off by the heart. And wherever you were emotionally, change the frequency, because there's frequency everywhere, if you believe in radio waves, and we're surrounded by them all the time. But the heart actually vibrates differently based on your emotions. And I'm going to give everybody... I'll just hold it up and then everyone can have one of these later. So the scientists were like, they were asked, well, how far does it go out? And they said, well, our study says 9 feet. Well, like a good reporter, they asked the next question, well, how do you know it's 9 feet? And they said, well, we believe it's infinite. But our man-made, hence man-made instruments can only measure up to 9 feet. So think about it. Every single one of us, even if it is 9 feet, we are exchanging energy. We are exchanging how we're feeling right now. So when your clients walk through the door, or if you're going in to do a presentation, or if you're out seeking new clients and you're shaking someone's hand, you are exchanging energy. And you're exchanging whatever you're holding in your heart. And how many, going back to going into a room that you really didn't want to be in, with these techniques and understanding that you actually have the power to change the room, breathing, feeling love. Love, my acronym, I love acronyms, is let optimal, not mediocre, let optimal vibrations enter. Let them enter your heart. Gift your heart, not only for yourself, but also for the room. Because this is the diagram that I came up with to show you that we're all exchanging energy. And how you show up will go to the next person and get intertwined. And whether we know it or not, it'll be exchanged and we'll feel it. So we have a lot of power. We have the power through the breath. We have the power of knowing that the vibration of the heart and the beating of our heart can shift anything. I mean, we all know about the butterfly effect. How about the heartbeat effect? So everyone gets one of these. So the questions on the back are really about asking, earlier I was talking to someone about feeling overwhelmed with everything that they needed to get taken care of. Give yourself grace and narrow it down to 3 things. And if 3 is too overwhelming for you, 1 is fine. Find 1 to 3 ways for you to be more heartful with yourself. Gift yourself time to meditate, to heal, to be well, to eat nourishing food. Spend time. The law of attraction is real. It's law for a reason. If you are in a toxic state, you're going to attract toxic people. If you're in a heartful state, the likelihood of you connecting with someone heartful goes up exponentially. So pay attention to that. So 3 ways, 1 to 3 ways that you could be more heartful for yourself. And then 1 to 3 ways, or clients, or people in your life that you can be more heartful with. Because they're projecting perceptions and opinions on you, and whether we want to admit it or not, we're doing the same thing to them. Okay? And sometimes people are like, well, it's really, really hard, when your client's like this, and a family member has their opinions about whether I should do this or do that. And I tell people, just imagine that you're kind of, we talked about the heart, and in the 7 chakras, it's green. But actually the center is like a rose quartz, and rose quartz is for love as well, has meaning. So imagine that you're encapsulated in this beautiful pink, kind of fuzzy, foggy, misty, beautiful air and light. And the capsule that's surrounding you is not hard. That's the difference. So many of us get our defenses up, and we don't take on those perceptions in a lighthearted manner. And what do? We immediately react. And it comes up and it springs off. So just imagine that you're encapsulated in this beautiful light, and it's soft and it's pliable. And when they come, they just kind of curve in, just like a ball that doesn't have enough air in it. And then it bounces right off. And they'll feel it. They will feel it. One of my favorite things to read, to especially groups like yourself, because, I've been on my own in business. I've had corporate jobs, and I still had my side hustles and all of that. And I will always have that, whether I'm in corporate or not, because that's just who I am. You guys are go-getters. You guys are brave. Because I've been there, I know, I see it in your face, and I congratulate you, and you should congratulate yourself. because it's hard work to convince somebody of a small brand to do business with you than the guy down the street that has the high rise. Be brave. Inch by inch, life's a cinch. Yard by yard, life is hard. Take the step inch by inch. Okay? Don't borrow trouble. You know, when you've had tests done, how many of us, myself included, like, oh, well, you know, the doctor can see you, you know, in 2 weeks. Really? I have to wait that long before I get the results? What do you think I do? I kind of spiral downward, like borrowing trouble. I encourage you, don't borrow trouble because you don't know. You don't know what the client's going to say. They haven't given you a decision. And quite frankly, the way that I look at it anymore, that if they decided to go somewhere else, that's okay. Just leaves room for somebody else because it wouldn't have been a good thing in the end anyway. So I love this. Kurt Blackson, You Are the One. If you has anybody read this? Okay, so Kurt Blackson, You Are the One, and it's periods after. And this is his introduction. The world is waiting for you. That's the name of it. No one is coming, really. No one is coming. The government isn't going to save you. Your parents can't rescue you. Your friends won't carry you. No one's coming. Aren't you tired of waiting? Waiting for someone else to solve your problems? Waiting to be happy. That's the one that struck a chord with me. Stop waiting to be happy. Happiness is right here around this table. Waiting to feel fulfilled. Waiting to live a life that deep down truly feels like the life you want. You wouldn't be a freelancer if you didn't want this deep down a life that truly speaks to you and that you want to live. I have news for you. There is no need to wait because you are everything you've been looking for. You are the person you've been waiting for. The world is waiting for you. You are the one. The world is waiting for you. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting on? Stop waiting on that person to come into your life. Manifest them. The law of attraction, as I said, is real. Your gut is your purest warning system. I don't know how many times I've been in the car and I was supposed to turn right, and for some reason, I was told to turn left. And I've learned to trust that. When I've turned left, the most amazing person, the most amazing experience, one time I turned left instead of right, and there's some farm way out on 69 Highway, and there was a camel and a zebra and all of that. And my girlfriends call me Snow White anyway, so of course I was having a heyday. I was like, hey, hi, how are you? You know, it's so good to see you. But I was like, I would have missed that. I would have missed that if I hadn't listened to my intuition, my warning system. Again, you know the minute you shake someone's hand whether you can do business with them or not, successfully. And we talked about dreams. DREAM stands for Dare Radiantly, Every Day and Moment. Dare yourself every single day, radiantly, because people will be attracted to that. They will want to do business with you. They will want to help you. Some of you guys are starting out and want to, connect. People will want to help you when you show up radiantly. There's a light about you that is so different. Dare yourself radiantly every day and moment. And I get it. Fear can stand in the way. It can be debilitating. It can paralyze you. Because again, it's the perceptions. What if I really want to speak my mind? oh my gosh, I might lose you as a friend. You know what? I don't care anymore. I don't care. Now, I don't want to deliberately hurt someone, but I speak my mind now, and that's okay, because actually what happens is people respect me more. I'm not a pushover anymore. I was in a sales job once, and my regional sales manager came in, and we were at the Marriott out by the airport. And I, as the local rep, knew the food and beverage manager and the head chef really well. Like, I had gotten to know them like as friends. My regional comes in, and I know he has an agenda. I get it. The corporate world, you've got X's that you have to mark in the box. How many calls, how many presentations, I get it. I was that person a couple years later. But I'm in this presentation, and I, of course, ask, how are things going, all of that? Well, there's a pending sale of the property. This was in June, and we won't know if we even have jobs in July. Of course, the compassionate side in me and the heartful side in me is like, oh my gosh, my regional manager didn't get it. He didn't listen. He didn't feel into the energetic and the pain that was really going on and the uncertainty that my two clients were dealing with. He opens up his tablet and he starts the presentation. The old Erin would have sat there and let him do the presentation. The Erin that speaks her mind gracefully and with respect, which he should have had respect for my clients, said, you know what? We're not going to continue with the presentation today. I'm really sorry you're having to go through this right now. How about we do this? I'll touch base with you in about a month, and we'll see how things are going. But until then, I'll pray for you, I'll hold space for you, and I'll send you lots of love and hugs. And we left. That's paying attention, because you don't have to. We talked about people being harsh with us, and you can be just as harsh. But there's different ways that you can do it. And bow out gracefully. So that's one experience. And I'm here to tell you that the breath work totally helps. When I finally went into a more regional position, I was in LA and had to go into a hotel. My predecessor, whose name was never spoken or shared with me because he messed up the territory terribly, I had to go and I had to fix things. You hear about the fixers, kind of in the underground? Well, I had to be the fixer of hotels. And a woman didn't even want to meet with me. And my rep, who's a chatterbox, talked to me the whole way there, and this is that, and she's mad at this, and this and that. And I'm like, okay, hold on just a second, because I can go on overload. Too much information, I just block you out. We parked the car, and he got out, and I said, hold on just 1 second. And I sat in my car, or his car, and I did those breathing techniques. I didn't know what I was walking into, as far as I knew the environment and the energy, but I didn't know what she was actually going to say to me and what she really felt, because I had just heard it through the channels. And I just centered myself, and I went, you know what? I'm going to go in there and I'm just going to listen. I mean, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And when I say listen, I mean really listen. Pay attention to their body language. Look into their eyes. Talk about seeing someone's soul line. Look into their eyes, and you will see their soul. Went in, hi, my name is Erin, and I understand that you're really upset with us, and I would love to hear what you have to say. She didn't even want to shake my hand. She was seething. Talk about vibrational energy. I was like, whew, don't know if I can make it through this, but I listened. And then afterwards, I just basically said, you know what, all I can tell you is that there's a line in the sand, and there was before me, and now there's me. And all I can do is try to make it better and to go through the proper channels and not lie to you, not give you false deadlines. Even if they're hard for me to present because you want it like yesterday, by the end, She was shaking my hand. She gave me a $100,000 project to work on, and we were going through the catalog. And she was like, yeah, I want quotes on all of this stuff. We walked out, and I had noticed, remember I said my rep was very chatty? I noticed he had sat in a booth, and he was so quiet, and we left, and I went, Robert, what's up? Cat got your tongue or something? What? And he goes, I don't know, but that was really fun to watch. That's the other thing, is that people are always watching, especially our children and youngsters. How you show up vibrationally matters. I was actually, one of my best friends is Fatima over at Fatima's Alterations. Don't take anything to her because she's retiring and she's moving back to Istanbul, and I can't talk any further about it because it'll make me cry. She's like my mother. But I was over there this morning ripping seams for her because I kind of call it the female version of a barbershop. We get caught up on different things and gossip. And she said, it's so hot. Do you want me to drive you over there? She's literally like across the parking lot. And I said, no. I said, because I have to present to a wonderful group of people. I've never met them before, but that walk from that back door to here brought me to the space of being present with you today. So I'm talking about, go to the restroom, stand there, sit in your car an extra 5 minutes. And you will get so good at it that you'll be sitting around the table and you'll be able to just breathe in that beautiful oxygen and let optimal vibrations enter, and people won't even know it. Give yourself the gift to receive the goodness that this world has to offer. Don't be fearful. Forget everything and reframe. I spoke to a group at Menorah Medical Center last night, and we spent a lot of time. We were mainly talking about making the decision to go into surgery and the projections and the opinions of family members and all of that. And I said, listen, that decision's on your own. But the fear of the other side of having the surgery was keeping them and was very debilitating on whether or not they should do it or not. And I said, well, what if you forget what everyone has told you and you just reframe it? And you know what? The people that had the surgery, because it was a support group that had the surgery, they were like, as soon as I was finished with it, I wish that I had done it 2 years sooner. So what's holding you back from seeing the other side of fear? There's a YouTube video with Will Smith, and it's so good. It talks about his fear of jumping out of an airplane and the buildup. Like his friends, that was their goal, and it wasn't really his thing, but he said, I'm going to do it. But as the days grew closer and they drove to the place and then they, stayed in the hotel, and he's having anxiety. He said he had a couple extra drinks and, all that. And then the next morning he was like, I'm not doing it. And he goes, I did it. And it was the most freeing, most wonderful thing. I set fear aside, and he basically said exactly what I just said. What was on the other side of fear was the most magnificent experience for him. So in your business, personal life, whatever it is, what's on the other side? And we have to make a decision because you have a 50-50 shot. If you don't ask, you don't know. K-N-O-W. And if the answer is no, at least you know K-N-O-W. Okay? You've got a 50-50 shot that the person across the table from you or the person on the other line will say yes to your project, will say yes to you, will say yes to going out to dinner with you, will say yes to going and having coffee with you. Or they might say no, and that's okay. They're not your client anyway. They're not your person. So we all have to decide. And believe me, the decision that you make today, you can change it and go a different way tomorrow. Because the only way that we truly know what we want is to know what we don't want. And that timeline has a lot of toxicity, a lot of patterns that were not healthy for me. And it got to the point where it was painful enough for me to change and to make a different decision. And that's led me to this. We all have gifts and talents. They're unique only to you, and I know what mine are now. And it's my job to honor what I call my higher power, because he or she or it has gifted me this talent. So shine your light, let optimal vibrations enter, and dream every single day. Dare yourself radiantly every day and moment. And if you feel fearful, forget everything and reframe. And if I can, just take one little, based on everything that I've been through in the last couple years, especially for you ladies, I made a hard decision. Well, it wasn't a hard decision. It was a decision that if I didn't make, I probably wouldn't be here. And that led me to a female group called Love You Girl. And it's all about self-love, because we need it more often. And it's an uplift. You can find it on my website. I am, it's all in your wording. I am building a very strong community of women that are wanting to self-love again, because that's our superpower. It's anybody's superpower. Self-love is your superpower. So if you're interested, I have sheets for that, and I will also pass out one of these so you guys can remind yourself. And I really and truly appreciate your time today. There's a lot of love in here. Love is the ultimate vibration. Go out and spread it. People are hungry for it. Thank you.